Welcome to X and Z Horror Movie Reviews. I'm X with your Gen X perspective,
I'm Z with your Gen Z perspective.
and tonight we're kicking off a new feature. This is the Reboot feature. This is when everything has gone so wrong, there's no other choice but to reboot. And we're talking, of course, about Alien and the entire franchise. So if you've seen any of our previous Alien Earth material, you'll understand that we're not overly thrilled with the results of that
That's one way of putting it.
experiment. So if you're new to the whole situation with Alien Earth, this was a highly anticipated television series, an 8-episode series about Alien in the franchise, and the promise was that they were going to, of course, come to Earth, hence the title. They did.
Yeah,
And
they did come to Earth,
there's
but
some problems with it. By some, I mean more than
everything
I can
about the
count.
show, pretty much.
I'll give you the three deal breakers in my view, and we actually stopped watching after the fourth episode. It was so bad.
I don't know if I made it to the fourth episode. I know that you watched some of the episodes, but I don't even know if I watched the fourth one.
Yeah, I
Maybe I
don't
did.
remember. I
Either
know
way.
that I broke on episode 7, and I hate watched it because I was just curious, like, how are they going to wrap this up? And they actually made less sense. And so I give you our top three, or my top three complaints. You can elaborate or what have you. The whole thing begins with a spaceship crashing into Earth. And as we all remember from our earliest school days, when the asteroid crashed into Earth, it was an extinction level event and it killed the dinosaurs. However, in the Alien franchise, a spaceship can crash into the Earth and hit an apartment building and not even disturb all the residents. Literally, that's a scene. I'm not exaggerating one bit. Also, there are no casualties on board the spaceship. So clearly, things have changed over the years about how objects entering our atmosphere and crashing into the planet work. It was really poorly done. It lasted over 2 episodes. The first, it's like, just no. And then maybe it was the fourth episode where one of the characters, the lead character named Wendy, all of a sudden, for no particular reason, because she's a synthetic, a robot, started speaking with the alien.
Alien language.
Let that sink in for a moment. Okay, it was really, really bad. There was no research. There was no reason. They weren't studying the language. She just all of a sudden started talking to it. Okay, not to be outdone, episode 7, she turned Alien the Xenomorph into a Pokemon, where it follows her around. It's her friend, her pet, and when she gets into trouble, it comes and attacks the people, and then it goes away after she gives it some scratchies. Um, this is a scene. I'm not even making this up. This is not hyperbole. This is that bad. Okay, there's a million other things that are equally as bad, but it's unwatchable. Okay. Um, in regard to the rest of the franchise, currently there are 9 movies that made it to the big screen. The first one, a classic.
An absolute must watch.
The second one, also a classic, completely different kind of movie, but a classic as well. Everything after that,
And then there's everything after.
yeah.
And that's why we're talking about rebooting the franchise, because, ooh, there's a lot of ringers in there.
Yeah, yeah. So tonight we're going to talk about what it would mean to reboot the entire thing, to go up, reboot it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Start us off with what that would look like. What is the reason to
Alrighty.
reboot this
The first movie, as we discussed in our last review, was a triumph of a film. Beautiful filmmaking, a brand new monster, and a brand new just kind of concept to sci-fi in general. It was magnificent. And we mentioned here and there aliens. and we said that it's a different movie. And it's different because
A
it's
different
action.
genre.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different kind of movie. Exactly, it's a
Mhm.
different genre, and it's more action adventure than it is horror. And it's got a lot less scare factor, but it's a lot more like cool, you know. So I think when you're going to reboot something, you need to look at the roots of the movie. You're going to say, okay, what does this need to be? And the first movie, the monster, the xenomorph, is more of a stalker. It picks the victims off one by one, and things begin to get serious by the time that there's only 3 of them left. And it's just like, okay, we went from everything's okay to, oh, we're actually gonna die. So, in that regard, things got serious. There were stakes and scary because you're trapped on this ship with a monster that blends in with the dark and can creep into dark, crevices and
Absolutely
bleeds acid,
magnificent.
and it's amazing. So you either need to go with that, or not even go with that necessarily. It's not a choice between one or two options. It's you can go with a million different branches of genre. But if we're going to look at Alien, there's the stalker horror genre with the xenomorph, or you're going to go with cool monster, like it's going to be about the monsters. Because in Aliens, you have the alien queen, you got all the aliens, the hive, the whole ordeal, and it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but a complete deviated like subject compared to the original movie.
Yeah.
So you got to pick between one of those, and different people, different tastes. In my opinion, I think that a stalker horror scare factor xenomorph would be awesome in future movies. I don't want complete action. Like, this thing can scare you, and if used correctly will scare you. It will terrify people.
It did.
It did in fact terrify people, but then they went in this different direction, and after Aliens, the 7 other movies, they completely lost it. Once we got to the Humalian, I just twice now. They went back and did it again
They did.
in Romulus. I can't even believe they made Romulus. That the ending. We're not going to go down that road.
Puculus.
We cannot go down Puculus Road. But we can backtrack. We could say, okay, let's redo this, especially with the tech that we have now. Just because CGI is used badly in most of today's movies, especially horror and other movies, superhero movies. What? Anyhow, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. You can use CGI to your advantage. You don't have to rely on it necessarily. But to be honest with you, seeing special effects like we do in The Thing, it would be a little outdated. It's really good looking for the time, especially like the way they put all that together. It
Yeah.
was really great for its time. But dude, we got virtual reality now, and a ton of other things. AI,
You can do physical effects
exactly.
now. I
You
mean,
can, yeah,
the technology got better in every direction,
exactly. You don't have to make a suit for a guy anymore.
which they
You know,
did.
which
In At
in
Birth,
fact, yes,
they did.
they did indeed.
It's just wow, wow.
So, it's unnecessary. So first you got to look at, what do I want this genre to be? What is the xenomorph at its roots? Then you look at, what do you want to do with the xenomorph and just the movies moving forward? What kind of plot and what kind of technology? You know?
So you got
So
a few things. Um, you know, I'm going to touch on
yes,
the stuff
please,
that you're
please
saying.
touch.
So right
Touch
away,
on it.
if you wipe the slate clean, it's going to eliminate all the plot holes, all of the
Mhm.
missteps, all of the continuity errors. Like, that's all gone. And what you get to do is start fresh. You're going to need some talented writers to
Most definitely.
start with and let them work on the story and the stories. It is a franchise. There's not going to be just one. Map it out so that you don't run into this situation where you're trying to build a tower on a horrible foundation.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Jenga.
It is alien Jenga. All right. You want to eliminate that. So you start off with the story. you get some fresh eyes on this thing. You need to take the keys away from the current drivers. No more Noah Hawley. No more Fede Alvarez. No, they're gone. They cannot play anymore in the sandbox. It's
it's a
too
new
far gone.
game.
It's a new era.
It's a new era.
And for that matter, you probably need an entirely new Hollywood, but that's a different topic
Yeah,
altogether. We'll reboot
we're just
Hollywood
looking at
in
a
another
specific
episode.
subplot at this
But
point.
for Alien, a beloved franchise, you get to start fresh. Now, you need to make a decision which genre you're going to operate in because I think, to what you said, they could never decide if they wanted it to be horror or if they wanted it to be action adventure. James Cameron did an amazing job marrying those two to a degree, but you can't have, take the best parts of Alien and then the best parts of Aliens and then make Alien 3 because that clearly did not work.
No, it
Um,
really, really didn't.
and then trying to be different, looking for new ideas, but you're already, fixed with certain properties and laws of the universe and this, that, and the other.
Exactly. And pertaining to
It's
your point,
just,
the plot holes and the discontinuity.
well, and this is just terrible. You get to catch up with technology as well. Something for today, something that we're used to, because trying to recreate, the bridge of the Nostromo is nostalgic and everything, but honestly, we need to start over fresh.
We need something new.
So, in something new, something that matches today's sensibilities, I think that Alien offers a rare opportunity to really successfully reboot a franchise. It's time, it can be done, and so much of what Alien is can be kept intact,
Oh,
but
indeed.
you get to improve a lot of things as well. Don't forget that. So we need to go back and decide what is the alien exactly, and what what does it mean as far as how long does the face hugger have to be on? How long after that does the chest burster appear? And we have a chance to let this make sense, to bring a version of reality to this to help it make it more scary, more realistic, more fun, more
Indeed.
meaningful.
Instead
Um,
of it just being a concept.
well, instead of it changing every
All
movie,
right.
this director wanted to bring this into it. I mean, we've had aliens inside people for days. We've had it for minutes. We never can decide.
Exactly.
We've had aliens that look like people, that look like dogs, that look like I don't know
And
what else.
also, how does a xenomorph queen happen? Is it just random, or does that have to be something special? Is it a special face hugger? And maybe there's something in a comic book that explains this. But
Oh yeah, okay,
are
and
you really
that's
reading the comic books?
well, we need to decide the people that are creating the map for the future need to decide. We can't just be making movies and say, "Hey, this guy wrote a comic last year." And I also read some fanfic over on this website. They had a really good idea. We could bring that into it, and
Yeah.
then it's really cool if we did that. Like, nope, nope. This is the professionals need to step in, okay,
Indeed.
and do their job. All right. So we're going to throw around a couple of ideas. What we think could happen. Yeah. Okay. Just as examples, and maybe these ideas are terrible, but they can't be more terrible than what we're watching. All right? We're going to kick it off. Both of us appreciate the first film the most. And I deeply love the second film, but the second film without the first film would have been meaningless. It would have been just another sci fi movie if you didn't have the threat of the alien to anchor aliens.
Exactly.
It wouldn't have been anything. So
Because
let's
one alien is bad. Aliens. Woo, that's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to go back to the horror roots of the first film. And let's just say we're going to, redo the mission of the Nostromo because I love the idea of, starting in space. I love the idea of, at least beginning that film with a recognizable setting. Um, Finding the pods, the eggs, having a face hugger appear. Great. Okay. But then let's get straight on the alien itself. Okay, we have the technology now to be able to look inside of eggs. We have the technology to be able to look at something, and that's today we have that to look at a face hugger and figure some things out, and then to have a timeline recording when a chest burster would appear. And
Indeed.
so right away, we're going to be defining these factors for future use. Okay. So now the alien itself, there were a lot of things that were never explained. Why does it have acid for blood?
And why does it mature so quickly?
Why does it mature so quickly? All of these questions. So
Completely unexplained.
beautiful chance to, put some answers to these questions and make it make sense so that it's real, so that we can get lost in the film without constantly being pulled out with some stupidity. All right, now let's talk about the alien itself. If we're going to reboot it, we have a chance to redesign the alien. This is because it no longer has to be a man in a suit.
Indeed.
Sacrilege? Maybe. But let's think about this for a minute. Tell us about H.R. Geiger's initial inspirations.
H.R. Geiger, very famous name. Many people know him because he created the figure, the Xenomorph. He was the original guy. He might be a little bit of a nut job if you look at the rest of his artwork, but he did make Alien. And some of that inspiration that he got for the Alien concept, which this is widely disputed whether or not he was actually inspired, but the signs are there that he was, from deep sea animals and obviously insects. And some of these are very, very interesting. And it really, even just on Earth, things can get very, very alien. I did not know that a see through lobster looking thing existed and looked like a xenomorph.
What was that? A Phronema?
A phronema or
Okay.
a pronema, however I'm pronouncing that.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Phroniima.
An IMA.
Yeah.
Correct. So I'm not sure how to pronounce it correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Amazing inspiration.
But it looks really, really close and cool.
You don't want to meet a big one.
No, no. So some of that inspiration is very interesting. I don't see a lot of people talking about that. I don't see people talk about H.R. Geiger until, I researched on him. I didn't know his name, but here we are, and now we can redesign the alien. We can take what we know now about deep sea creatures and all that. I mean, look at the technology. Back to the technology. We can do things that we couldn't do before. So maybe we can redesign it. Maybe we don't need to. But either way, the opportunity is there to improve upon it.
Yeah, I think that we could easily use the
Oh,
initial
yes.
creature as a blueprint and a frame, and then take away some of the humanity in it.
Exactly, because you
Right?
don't need it to be human,
It
right? Because we
doesn't have to
said
be
no
anymore,
suit needed.
right? And then we can start to really look at, all right, what are some potential plot lines? This thing is going to
Right.
hunt the people on the ship. We would all like to see the ship actually survive and get back to the planet. We would like to see this creature in the planet ecosystem. Maybe
Right.
a couple of them.
How it works.
What would happen if this thing was in a city? I mean, there's
Or
a
a jungle,
spaceship that it can, attack. It can attack an apartment building. It can be in a hospital. It could be in a grocery store. It could be in a jungle. All of these are great setups. Okay, and we have some other plot holes that we need to fill. What is going on? Does there have to be a queen to lay eggs? Because it sounds like a pretty inconvenient way to set a species up and have it prosper. So again, we look to the insect world, and a little bit of research shows that there are parasites, there are insects that the female will eat. And I'm just going to use a tick for an example right now. Spiders work as well, but a tick, you see these things, they latch onto you, they are a speck, and then they drink enough of your blood to where they turn into something the size of the end of your thumb. That's pretty grotesque, okay? The idea is they're going to use all of that to lay eggs. So now what we have is this idea that aliens don't need a queen. What if they just attacked people? And here's a use for the acid for blood too. They're insect like. Maybe they like spray you with acid. You
Right.
start to dissolve. They suck up the goo that was you. Right now, they've got all the building blocks they need to lay eggs. Now these eggs are sitting there, and people come along. You got one alien, maybe it lays 5 eggs.
Then you
Now
got
we got
6 aliens.
now we got
You know,
five
or
face
five.
huggers. They go through the whole thing, and it's just a constant drive for this parasitic species to exist. It just so happens that this parasitic species is completely deadly, extremely effective. You're not faster than it, you're not stronger than
Right.
it, you're not gonna make it if this thing's coming after you, unless you have some really creative ideas about how to defend yourself and how to kill it. So
Exactly.
now we have
But you're not winning
stakes.
a fist fight with that thing.
No, you're just not. So now we have a way for it to reproduce. We have a reason for it to exist. And these are just simple ideas
Exactly.
that, any writer with any experience
Can explain.
can look at this and make it easy to understand and make it make sense. Okay? After that, characters you were talking about. It doesn't matter what the monster is.
Right. It matters whether or not your characters are interesting. Because if you hate everybody or if you don't care about anybody, then what does it matter if they die? You know? Who cares? But good writing and good plot development. So now we actually have a reason for the xenomorph to exist. It's a parasite. Just an idea, right? And so now we have some building blocks to work with,
Well, I want to get back to
right?
that character thing for a minute. You have to create memorable characters. You have to create people you care about. You put them in situations for the horror genre that are horrifying. If it doesn't scare you, you're not going to be interested. It doesn't matter. It's a massive flaw in this current television series. The characters are made to be as unlikable as possible. I don't know what the thinking was here. Um, in addition to some really questionable style choices, I just wish they would take away that Tweedledee simple Jack haircut and never show it again. But that's just me. The character, though, that has this haircut also has some of the worst dialogue in television history.
That also doesn't make any sense.
So, we have some work to do. But if you have the characters, I mean, you remember Ripley,
Yes,
you
very
remember
memorable.
Dallas, you remember Ash. It doesn't take too long to like gear up the cabeza, and you probably remember a few of the others too. The number of reviewers that have been looking at this latest series, Earth, they don't remember the character names because they're just egregious. They're horrible. They don't want to remember them, and they're dumb. They remember one name, maybe two, and it's just no. So character driven, no plot holes, no continuity uh, problems. You want to make sure your technology matches, and keep in mind you're going to make movies in the future. So, do something future minded. Make sure that people 10 years from now aren't completely stuck. Okay, not that you can see into the future, not that somebody in 1979 would realize that we are an internet based, you know, handheld computer based society now. Um, instead of their analog computers. But this has to be taken into account as much as possible, and there are ways to do that to match the technology. Um, what else? What else would improve this experience?
Setting up your story not to have prequels, not having to go back. Oh my god. Oh my god, don't set up your story
Never again.
to have a prequel because that's the one-way ticket to mess your whole story up forever. And yeah, if you can't tell, I have a problem with prequels. Every prequel that I've ever seen.
I don't know anyone that doesn't. Like,
Yeah,
honestly,
honestly.
every time I hear like they're gonna do a new movie in this universe, and you're like, yes, and they're like, it's gonna be a prequel. You're like, no, oh no,
No,
it's
it's bad.
yeah,
It's really, really bad. So
yeah,
don't do prequels.
no prequels,
No prequels. But other than that, as far as Alien goes, don't do Humalians.
no
Okay?
more Humalians,
Telling you a
never
lot of things
again.
that you cannot do with this franchise, but
Yeah,
stick to the roots. Have it be terrifying. Make it real. Honestly.
it's the characters getting into trouble that
It's
we
the
care about.
characters.
Don't try to like, oh, my alien is totally cooler than the last alien. Like, no, no.
Exactly. Everything I've seen with Alien, you had the first one, and that was a masterpiece. You had the second one, and like you're saying, that was a different viewpoint. But then, from then on, they didn't agree what they wanted it to be. They didn't agree what Alien was supposed to be. So you got this conglomerate of like super sci-fi, but also trying to be scary. So an action adventure, and it doesn't make any sense.
None of it's any good. It's not
So
good.
back to that whole deciding what your story is going to be about.
Map it out.
Plan things.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
You always have to make changes here and there. It's
sure.
inevitable. But if you have a strong core concept
Then you can never go wrong.
and some rules that are canon, and they're there for a reason, it's going to keep things grounded. It's going to keep things centered, and you're going to
Exactly.
be able to move forward with quality instead of this terrible, terrible affliction that we're all being subjected to that no one wanted.
Correct.
Okay.
So,
All right then. So, um, we talked about this reboot idea and the idea of doing an episode on it, and it occurred to us we're going to have to do this again
with a lot
okay?
of different movies
With a lot of
and
different
franchises.
movies and franchises. Yeah,
Because, oh my
some
God.
things you can never touch again. I'll tell you that right now. You will never see me ever suggest a reboot of Jaws. It can't
Oh,
happen.
no.
Never, for so many reasons.
Oh, no.
However, Jurassic Park or
Whatever
World,
they decide it is.
it's way overdue.
Yes,
Needs a
indeed.
reboot. You might see us talk about that.
Perhaps.
And there's definitely a film franchise coming up
And
this fall.
depending on how well Predator does, we might have to see about that.
We're going to be doing,
Ooh,
we're going to have to reboot it. It's another take the keys away, because no, it's not okay. They're not doing the right thing with that.
No.
So,
no,
I mean,
they are not.
if some miracle happens, I'll eat my words, but I'm not planning on it.
So yeah,
So,
Badlands isn't looking great.
no, but it's got to be better than Earth.
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping.
Wow,
So
can't be any worse.
that,
They have a bunch of predators that act like children. Then
well, they already have the Predator Darth Vader, so I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know, and they already have the droid, so I really don't
We're
know.
gonna
And that's the
save
killer
that
of
for
killers.
the Predator
Ooh, I
reboot.
cannot
It's coming. Get ready.
Alrighty.
We're
Predator
gonna
reboot.
do some Halloween oriented reviews of movies that we do like before that.
Because oh my God,
But
we can't
can't
survive off movies that we hate.
yeah,
Oh,
doesn't work. Until then, thank you for watching. I'm X.
I'm Z.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time.